Okay, we're back here, and as you can see, we have a goblin slash demon head that I was working on, and I'm going to show you how to add additional parts of his body by using additional spheres. So if we go over to the third control panel right down here, and it says New Sphere, I'm going to click that button, and instead of saying New Scene, which would give us a brand new one to start sculpting with, I'm going to click Add Object. What that does, if I hold it on the midline, is creates another sphere. You can see that this sphere is active now because it's a bright red, and the dull red one is the old sphere. If I click on that, that one's active. We can do something. We can scale that, and remember we said before that global means affects the entire ball. We can move it right up and down, but we can also move it side to side. I can also use the scale tool with global checked, and I could make this much bigger because I think I'm going to need a bigger torso for this creature. I'm going to use the smooth button, and I can start to smooth this all out. Let me turn up the strength a little bit, and I can start to shape it a little bit more. And you can see just with a little bit of shaping, I'm getting a basic torso shape. It's got a little bit too much on his back, so I'm going to shrink that down. And we can sort of mold this into the shape that we want, which is more of a torso shape. Let's say at this point we want to add now shoulders. We can add New Sphere. Remember, we're going to add object, and I'm going to bring them out to the side. I can again take the scaling tool and I can scale them down, and I can move them, and that would be very useful. Remember, when we're doing 3D work, we want to turn it in multiple directions. That looks pretty good. And then we could add again another set. We have symmetry on, so each time that we add object, we're going to create two of them if we're not on the midline. We can take those again and scale them. Maybe we will take the grab tool and stretch them. Oops, global is checked. We have to uncheck that, and we can start to stretch them out. Maybe those are too long for the upper parts of the arms, so we can shrink them a little bit. We might take the smooth tool, make them shorter, and then I can take those two, bring them, put global back on, and we can move those. We can use the rotate tool, and we can rotate them up and down. So we can change the position of where they're added on, and we can pose them later on. And we're back. Here is a wonderful sculpture of this sort of dapper dressed rat by one of our senior sculptors, Donnie Wilbur. Donnie was actually a teacher for me on this one and showed me the power of having the model constructed by all these multiple parts. It looks like it's one giant figure with his whole body, but I'm going to show you something. I'm going to press Control D to deselect, and I'm going to click on the upper arms, and you can see those were made out of a sphere that was shaped like a tube. If I click down here, you can see that that is also a separate part. The collar is a separate part, this button, and even all the parts of the fingers. What if we wanted to pose this in a more dynamic pose? We could turn symmetry off, and then what I'm going to do is deselect everything, and I'm going to select that upper arm only, and watch what I can do. I can take that. I've got the rotate tool on, and remember global's on. I could move that up. It's not quite in the right position yet, so I'm going to take it and move it up that way. And then I have to move all this, but these are all separate parts. So what am I going to do? I'm going to click that. I'm going to hold Shift, click the collar, click the button, and then carefully select all of the parts of this. When I select all of these, they're grouped together, and that means they can all move together. There's one part I missed right there, and I'm going to do that. And then again, what I could do is I can take this, I'm going to use the rotate function. I can use the grab tool, it's on global, and I can move it up. And remember, we're working in 3 dimensions, so we sort of have to move things around from multiple angles. That doesn't look quite right yet. There we go. Now, as you can see, he's posed with his arm up. We could continue to do more posing with the other arm, the other legs, even the head, rotating it around to get maybe a more dynamic pose that would be more evocative. We can also go back in later and we can re-sculpt parts by by modeling maybe different wrinkles or adding structure to the shoulder, because everything as it bends in space is going to change. So that's how you can basically use spheres to model other body parts to create a sculpture that can be posed and animated later on.